Well, welcome to Godly Play. Today's story is the story of creation. Now, in Godly Play, we want to be ready. So just kind of get your body ready to hear a story from Scripture. So make sure you're comfortable. I took off my shoes to help me be a little more comfortable. Make sure you're in a good position. Maybe sitting on the floor is cozy, and then you can be ready to hear the story. Today's story is the story of creation, and I just want to give a little side note to parents. Listen to this story from Scripture, but don't listen to it as if it's to replace your science textbook. That's not the purpose of Scripture. It's more that you should hear it as a love letter. That this is a story that's going to communicate God, the Creator, and His love toward the world, toward creation. That there is an intimate bond, an intentionality, a love between Creator and created. So listen for that. But then if you have questions, if your children have questions and they're wondering, well, that's perfect. Because when we hear Scripture, it is to spark wonder. And so encourage your kids to play and explore and wonder about this amazing God and this amazing creation. Well, if we're ready, let us begin. And I want to start with a question. So, what is the biggest present that you ever received? I wonder what you're sharing at home. The biggest present I ever received as a child was my pink Huffy. It was the most amazing bike ever, and it had one of those long, like, banana seats. And the little tassels, it was pink, it was fabulous. And it was a fun surprise. That was the biggest present ever. I wonder what was the biggest one that you received? Another big present in our family that we received about a year ago was the gift of our cat. Whiskey is the best, most loving, amazing cat ever. I never thought I would ever own a cat. I never thought I would get a pet for my children, but we have this cat, and I know he's so special to my family. It's like I now have a family of 5 instead of a family of 4. There's something different, though, about that present, right? Because the cat or a pet is alive. It's a little different present than a bike or a video game. Well, listen to the people in your home and hear about their gifts and their wonderful presents. Well, did you know that you are a gift? That when God made you, God was well pleased. God said, wow, you are good. I am grateful that God made you. And you are a gift. Did you know that there are some presents that are so big that nobody notices them? They're so huge that they're hard to see. They're so hard to see that the only way to know that they are there is to go clear back to the beginning, or maybe even before the beginning. In the beginning, there was, well, In the beginning, there really wasn't much. In the beginning, there was, well, nothing. Except maybe, perhaps, there was an enormous smile. But there was no one to see it. Then, on the very first day, God gave us the gift of light. So now there was not just darkness, but there was light and dark. Now, I don't just mean light in a light bulb or in the car lights at night. I don't just mean this light or that light, but I mean all of the light that is light. God gave us the gift of light that all light comes from. And when God saw the light, God said, "It is good." And that was the end of the first day. On the second day, God gave us the gift of water. Now, I don't just mean the water in a water glass or the water in a bathtub or shower. I don't even mean just the water in a river or a lake. I don't mean just the water in the ocean either, or the water that comes down from the sky in rain. I mean all of the water that is water. This is the water that all of the rest of the water comes from. This here. This is the firmament. It divides the water from above and the water below. When God saw the water, God said, "It is good." And that was the end of the second day. On the third day, God gave us the gift of dry land. God divided the water and the dry land and gave us the gift of green growing things. Then God saw the dry land, when God saw the dry land and the green growing things, God said, "It is good." And that was the end of the third day. On the fourth day, God gave us the gift of the day and the night. God gave us our way of counting our days. Here is the great light that rules the day, the sun. And here is the great lights that rule the night, the moon and the stars. When God saw the day and the night, our way to keep time, God said, "It is good." And that was the end of the fourth day. On the fifth day, God gave us the gift of all the creatures that fly in the air. Not just the birds, but all the creatures that fly. And all of the creatures that swim in the water. All of them. The sunfish and the muskies and the sharks. All of the creatures that swim in the water. And when God saw all the creatures that fly and all of the creatures that swim, God said, "It is good." And that was the end of the 5th day. On the 6th day, God gave us the gift of all the creatures that walk upon the earth. The creatures that walk with 2 legs, like you and like me, and the creatures that walk with many legs. And when God saw the creatures that walk with 2 legs and the creatures that walk with many legs and all the gifts of all of the other days, God said, "Oh, it is very good." And that was the end of the 6th day. On the 7th day, God rested and gave us the gift of a day of rest. It's a day to remember the great gifts of all the other days. Well, there is nothing here, because people go to different places to remember the great gifts. You can put something here. Maybe when you make your cards for every day of the week, on your 7th day, you could put something here to remember the great gifts of all of the days. It might be your backyard by a tree. It might be in worship in your church, in our church, or maybe it's in your room. It might be in the mountains or by the ocean or a lake. I don't know where your place is. Only you know. What I do know is that this day is so special that often Jewish people mark this day with 2 candles. And it's so special for Christians that we often mark the day with a cross. Now I wonder, which one of these days did you like best? I wonder which of these days is the most important. I wonder which day you see yourself in, or which day is the most about you. I wonder if we can leave any of these days out and still have the whole story. Could we leave one out? Still have the whole story? Maybe. I wonder what you'll do for your work. Maybe it will be coloring, making yourself a set of creation cards. Or maybe it will be with Play-Doh. You could make the light, or you could make the flying animals or the 4-legged animals. Well, watch me as I put our story away. We have the 7th day. And the 6th day. The 5th day. And the 4th day. Kind of like the stars. And the third day, lots of lakes and trees around here, don't we? And the second day, I love the word firmament. It's so fun. The firmament separates the water from above from the water below. And the first day. And then the very beginning, when there really wasn't much of anything at all, except for maybe one great big smile. Thanks for wondering with me.